The Australian Ghost Whisperer with Caterina and James Jennings. Hello everybody, welcome to the Australian Ghost Whisperer. Hello Caterina.
Hello, James, and hi, everybody.
Now, we did an episode recently where we looked at a true crime. It was involving a ghost that was known as the Lady in Black. If you haven't seen the episode, check it out. It was really interesting. Caterina tapped into the incident and actually uncovered the true killer in that particular crime, and it wasn't the one that was arrested and I think hung for the crime at the time. It was somebody different. So it was quite an amazing episode, and we decided to do another true crime episode, and this one is a big one because it involves the case of the missing Beaumont children. Now, the Beaumont children went missing on January 26 in 1966. It was one of the biggest police investigations of all time, and it got a whole lot of media attention. 3 children went missing. Their ages were 7, 9, and 4, 2 girls and a boy. And to this day, there's still, I think, $1 million reward for any information leading to the capture of, or information, leading to answers so that they can actually, solve the crime. And we decided to tackle that this week. So I'm a little bit kind of like nervous about this. This is like a really big deal, Kat. This is a crime that's kind of baffled the police and has kind of like, I guess perplexed the Australian public for decades now.
Yeah, it's very tragic. It was really, really hard one to look into. So this is my version. Again, these are not actual facts. These are based on my version and what I psychically picked up. Because I had a couple of clients ask me to tap into the Beaumont children. And so I prayed on this over for a few nights, and then I find sometimes when these types of communications come through for me in my sleep, but I tend to get the messages in the early hours of the morning rather than in the night, through the night, I guess, so that they're fresh in my head. And in this dream, it was as though I was a spectator looking in.
Okay.
So what I was shown is that there was a man and a woman that had been watching these children for many weeks, quite a while. I don't know exactly how long because timing's hard to sort of figure, but they had been watched, so they were well aware of their lifestyle, where they lived and what they did. And I feel that they were criminals of some form that belonged to some form of, as I get more into the dream, criminal activity.
Right. Okay. Were they part of like a larger criminal network, or they were just?
Yes.
They were part of a larger criminal network.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you'll realise which one when I get into it. So I was, again, like I was looking in and I was watching these 2 people watching these children. And then obviously they were caught, as we all know, at the beach on Australia Day, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
It was like there were more than 2 people then, and it was as though that was the day. It was like, this is the day that we're going to do this. That was the feeling I had. I was observing these people's thoughts.
Okay.
Not so much hearing words, but their thoughts. It was, this is it. This is the day. And it needed to be done that day. So I didn't actually witness the capture because it's just so emotional. So I guess Spirit were just showing me the parts that I could deal with emotionally. And from there, I was taken, the children were taken, and I had a sense that the youngest girl was somehow taken offshore. It was a feeling of she was being adopted. She had been bought for a large amount of money by a wealthy family. So I felt like she was adopted out. That was again the feeling I got with that. No real danger had come to her, but there was a sense of she had been adopted out. And then as that scene, I moved into a scene where I was in like a very private office space that was kind of, I felt like it was hidden away. And in this space were X-ray equipment, various types of those old-fashioned 60s X-rays. It felt really heavy. It felt really horrible. It felt like a place that was just evil. I could feel and sense the evil. Evil just was everywhere. And I felt as though the other two children, the boy and the girl, were being X-rayed. And I really hate to say this, it's really hard, but it was like their organs or part of their organs were being taken for that kind of market.
Right. So
hence the X-ray machine, hence the smell of, then I smelt anesthetic, sorry. And so, yeah, I felt as though their organs, but they were already, it was a feeling of these organs were already.
they already had people waiting for them. Is that what?
Yeah, they were already allocated to certain people that needed them. Okay, they were allocated. They were so that was made very clear to me, and from that scene, I don't know that it's going to help anybody by me telling you all how those bodies were disposed of, because it is so horrific, and I think that it will give everybody nightmares. But all I want to say is that those bodies were not buried and they will never be found.
Okay.
And I just prefer to leave it at that, because it's what I saw was just too horrific to talk about. Hence why doing crime is so difficult. I don't feel like it's just really horrible. It's hard to unsee what you see, and it was hard for me to unsee what I saw. But on a happier note, I then felt like these children were running together in the spirit world, and it was like they were just running through these hills and they were playing and completely oblivious to what had transpired and how they had come to meet their death. But it was like they were in rolling hills and there were other children playing, and so that's how I kind of woke up from that.
Okay. Yeah, very, very upsetting. I'm curious with the youngest girl who was 7 who got adopted out. Does that mean that she would still be alive?
She possibly could. Does she remember? Does she know who she is? I don't know.
Right.
It was a feeling that she was safe. Okay. It was a feeling, well, I mean, she's not safe in the sense of she's been taken from her family. Mm-hmm. But it was the feeling that she had already been assigned to a wealthy family. It felt like it was a wealthy family, and I felt like she was taken offshore. It
Right.
was a sense of the ocean, of being taken offshore to, is she still alive? I don't know. I didn't sort of see that, but I felt like she was okay. She was, at least wasn't going to have to go through the trauma that the other two went through.
Yeah. Well, if she is still alive, she'd be like in her mid 60s now.
Mm.
Yeah. And were the other children taken offshore as well? Or,
I didn't feel they were, no.
okay.
I felt like I was still in Australia, but it felt like a really dark, dingy place with all these X-ray machines, and obviously, the theatre room, and um, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty awful stuff. Um, that's the I guess the double-edged sword when looking into true crimes, hey Caterina, which is people want answers and they want to know what happened, but usually the answers are unpleasant and grisly,
Oh, they are.
and um, it doesn't necessarily make things better. I mean, obviously I can't speak for the people who have gone through having their family members missing like this. Like maybe knowing that kind of information would give them some kind of relief. I don't know, but it's it's just a very difficult thing to process, really. And it's a funny thing because I know true crime has become very big in popular culture. People love true crime podcasts and TV shows and what have you. And there's a fascination around these cases and wanting to solve them. But yeah, I guess the thing is, people have to be prepared for the fact that sometimes when you do solve these things or you do
Mm.
find answers, it's probably not going to be a very happy ending, right?
I mean, how would you tell parents something like that? Thank God they're in spirit too, and I'm sure have come to be with their children
Yeah.
together again, reunited. Yeah, it would be a very difficult thing
Yes.
to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's yeah, I don't know what to say. It's a very tragic end to, I guess a very famous cold case. Um, it's not exactly, I don't know. Yeah. So I'm just lost for words, Kat.
I know, I'm sorry, it's really full on. It is. I'm sorry, guys. To our beautiful audience, it was really full on. And um, but they are in the realm of spirit, and they're loved and cherished. And I guess the amazing thing is that love has a way of erasing all of those dreadful memories, and that gave me peace that those kids are running around
Yeah.
and they're still kids and they're actually safe in God's world. And it's so unfortunate that this world can have these levels of incredible evil. And I just feel that, you know, I don't know, yes, we live in a world of duality and all this crap, but I don't know why these things need to exist in our world. I've always been I find it really disturbing. I find it disturbing that we have children in this world who don't have a meal or clean water. I just feel that as a human race, we all should get more involved. I know we all get carried away in our own bubble of our own problems, and we forget that there are children, innocent children living in dreadful conditions, and we have so much.
Mm.
The world is so out of balance, and that's why I'm a big advocate for healing ourselves and coming together and being more compassionate towards each other, ourselves, the world we live in, because violence. There's so much violence in this world. It's overtaken, and it's on every level, to the human race and to nature itself, and the animals. I'm a big advocate. This is why I choose to live a life as you do, James, where we do no harm to any species, because I believe everything has the breath of God's divine spark. And I believe that we cannot justify murder for any living being, for any living creature. That is what the truth that I live and breathe every day of my life. And I don't care what people say, the protein and this and that. I think it's all bullshit. We have survived for many, many years. Nothing bad has happened to us. There's so many millions of people now that are doing the right thing. I just think that when we all come together from our hearts and come together as a human family, come together from a space of compassion and love for all life, I think we have a chance of ending all this madness.
I agree, Caterina.
Because it's just madness. And, I would be seriously thinking twice of having children the way this world is. It really worries me. And, people always say to me, oh, it's getting worse, it's getting worse. Well, what are you doing about it? Everybody's happy to say it's getting worse, but no one's changing anything. No one's changing or trying to make a difference in any way.
Yeah.
And that really does make me a little bit upset, because if people said, well, what's my part, even if it's a little part, and then someone else does it and someone else, and, the world could become a better place, but I don't know anymore.
Exactly.
We try to do our best, and we try to bring as much love and encouragement, but it worries me. It worries me about the future of our beautiful world. I mean,
Absolutely. And the thing is like everyone has the power. People are made to feel powerless, but we actually have the power to choose a life where we do as little harm as possible.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. And if you choose to do as little harm as possible, that means looking after the environment, looking after the animals, looking after each other. And unfortunately, people are slipping into buying into the division that's being sold to us, whether it's gender division or racial division or whatever it is. It's all constructed to divide us.
Yeah.
It's all constructed to make us feel like we are separate. It's like this big trick that's going on to fool us into thinking that we're all these little separate factions, and it's not true. It's like we are all, as you said, have the breath of God in us, as do all living things, animals included. And to think that any of that is separate rather than unified is wrong. It's an illusion.
Yeah.
And I agree with what you said, and we can make a change, and if we all accept that truth, we can make a massive change to the world, and it doesn't have to be going down the tubes as rapidly as it seems to be going. So take your power back.
And it keeps that duality thing happening, keeps the duality happening, keeps the duality strong of the good, the bad, the good versus the bad versus the good. It just keeps that cycle round and round and round. We go in the same cycle, and I don't. It's hard, isn't it? Because it's a hard thing to listen. It's a hard thing to hear. It's a hard thing. People really struggle with it.
Yeah.
The more peace we can be, the more godlike we can be, the more we're such incredible spirits, so powerful, so able to change the world and look after all the little children that are hungry and dying from starvation. Like, people go out and do protests for all kinds of things, but
And another thing too, Caterina, I think we need to start holding people in power far more accountable. You look at someone like Elon Musk, who has billions and billions of dollars.
Mm,
He could solve so many of the world's major issues, hunger,
mm,
poverty, famine, all these things he could be putting his money into to actually making the world a better place and having a truly positive impact on the world. But instead, he does ego-based vanity things like
yeah,
buying
so,
Twitter for whatever it was, $1 billion or whatever insane amount he paid, or he throws all this money to get Trump into power. Like it's like his money is going towards things purely fueled by ego to make himself look powerful, and it's like we should be holding people like that accountable and saying you have
mm,
the power to change the world for the better, and you're not doing it.
yeah, instead people turn them into heroes.
It is absurd. It is absurd. It's like
And that's not the only, there's so many institutions, I'm not going to mention them, but we know of endless institutions where they have endless amounts of money and we just accept it, that they're special, but that child who hasn't had a decent meal in probably all of its life is not special.
yeah. And again, it's buying into that illusion of division, People need to start seeing it as that's over there, that's not my problem, as well, it is your problem because we are all connected. We're all connected by the one living force. So what the hardship and the ill that befalls that person, it is befalling you. You just don't see it yet, but
Yeah.
you will eventually. Um, yeah. Well, look,
Yeah.
I guess ending on a positive note, Kat, is that
Sorry, we didn't mean to go into a rant and lecture, guys, but
yeah, but you know what, Kat? I mean, look, I think that anyone who listens to us or watches our show knows that we
we're
speak from the
coming from
heart.
our hearts, yeah.
Yeah, we speak from the
And you
heart.
know, I always get asked, "Oh, well, why does God allow it?" No, 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 sorry, but God hasn't allowed it. We've allowed it.
Yeah,
People always say, why does God allow this? Why does God allow that? Why didn't God look after so and so? And no, because we're allowing it. Our actions, what we give out, returns to us in so many different ways.
yeah,
This is the thing that we're not allowing to accept, that when we stop giving out those frequencies of me, then
mm,
maybe this place has a chance of changing.
yep.
It's not God.
We
It's
have
got
that's it. We have far more power to change things in a positive direction than we can
mm,
possibly fathom, and the people in power don't want you to realize that you have the ability to take some
no.
power and make that change. They want people to sleepwalk through life because it makes life easy for them.
It's right, but also it allows the dark side to have this power over this world. It allows the dark side to breed the types of creatures and demons who do these types of crimes.
Mm,
How do you think Satan can work through this world? It needs a vessel to work through
mm,
to do this. So the more love we bring into this world, the less power these horrible creatures have.
yeah,
Everything here is energy, and
yeah,
energy is made of emotions, our thoughts, what we give out.
mm,
And the dark side feeds off all of the emotions. And let's look at it. How many people are happy or even spend a moment being grateful for everything? Everybody's so unhappy, and that energy is growing and growing and growing and growing.
yes. And it seems like society has been designed that we very much go into ourselves. We become insular, we become more internal, and we stop seeing that connection. I mean, a really basic analogy is, you walk down the street. Why aren't you smiling and saying hello to every person you pass? Like, they're your brother, they're your sister, but we don't. We look the other way. We put a stern look on our face. We don't want to, we don't want that it's safer. We're bred to kind of go into ourselves and not realize the divine connection that's there. So wake up and let's do some good. You can do some good. That's the message we want to leave people with, isn't it, Kat? You can do some good. Make the choice. Take your power back. And yes, there is evil in this world, but we can actually do something about it with our thoughts and actions.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you, Caterina. And I'm sorry you had to sort of
Oh, that's okay.
see some awful things there to get those answers, but you know, um, when you look at true crime, that's what happens. So yeah. But all right. Well, we will be back again soon. Caterina and I will no doubt be visiting some more haunted properties in the near future as well.
Yeah,
So
we have a few planned, don't we,
we
James?
sure do. We sure do. So we'll be back to some in-person ghost busting real soon.
Okay. Lots of love, everybody.
Yeah, lots of love. Thanks for watching and listening. We will catch you again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
To gain access to private spiritual development classes, guided meditations, please visit www.patreon, that's patreon.com/The Australian Ghost Whisperer.